What's up, mansion builders? If you're having a hard time getting investors to commit to your assisted living deal, I want you to do this first. So you may have a rock star deal. You may have a great presentation, all your tools may be together. You may have everything ready to go. People are super excited about it, but they are not pulling the trigger. They are not ready. There's uncertainty there, right? They may really love the vision, but they don't want to put their money where their mouth is yet. So this is what you do. You get a takedown loan. A takedown loan is essentially some type of short-term financing. You buy the property, you buy the real estate, you buy the vacant land, whatever it is. You buy it first before you bring on the investor partner. Now, you may have multiple options on this. You might go seller finance on the property. You might get some kind of short-term financing like hard money. You might go to your local bank. They may have like a build on your own lot kind of loan, and you just get that first loan and you don't really refinance with them with the actual construction part. You may have like a local bank who will give you 10% down on vacant land or some property, right? There's a number of different ways, but ultimately this is a short-term loan. This is probably like a 12-month loan, maybe a smidge longer, and you don't have this loan for construction. This is just your takedown loan. You're getting your ducks in a row. You're getting to a place where you're shovel ready. That's a key word I want you to remember, shovel ready. And then you can bring in the investor, and then you can get the real loan, whether it's SBA or commercial, whatever kind of loan is going to go through construction and handle your working capital and all of that kind of stuff. So let's go back to this idea of shovel ready, because when you are shovel ready, you're really taking all the uncertainty away. You're taking really all the risk away as well. So if you have an awesome deal and you have people excited about it, but they're like, I'm not quite ready yet. Or you know what? Really what they're saying is you're not quite ready yet. If you get all the way to your shovel ready, then you're 100% ready. There is no uncertainty. You have all of your ducks in a row. You're ready to break ground essentially and start building. So let's talk about what it takes to get to that place, being shovel ready, and how that relates to an investor and being able to present to them and getting that deal closed. So prior to getting your takedown loan, you've done all your due diligence. You've done your market research. You've talked to the city. You've gone through maybe a pre-application meeting. You've talked to the planning and zoning and the fire marshal and all those kind of things. You know that you can do this deal. You know that the deal pencils. You know you're going to make great money, but you don't have some of the things together yet. So you're getting those things together. So you bought the land to really buy yourself time. Buy yourself time to get through plans, permits, your hard bid, and your appraisal. Those are the 4 things that you need in order to be shovel ready. And when you get those 4 things done, then you go back to the investor. So let's unpack this a little bit more. First things first, you buy the land, right? You now have a piece of property. You know you're going to do it on this location. So now it's your plans. You go to your local architect. You go to an engineer, including a civil engineer, and you say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to build a mansion on this piece of property. Here's my vision for it, or here's Brett's vision for it. You can copy some of our ideas, right? So here's what we want to do. I want it to look like this. It's going to be 10,000 square feet, 16 private rooms. We're going to have this amazing, great room. And I want you to put it here. And I want to have this kind of driveway here, parking over here. And this is what it's going to look like. They're going to take that vision. They're going to create it, starting with a 2D floor plan, building the whole thing out, sending it to various different engineers, sending it to a civil engineer, going through all your site kind of stuff. That's your plans, and that really takes months to build out and get step by step through that. Lots of different revisions. You're submitting it to the city for comments, and you're getting your permits, right? That may be your architect who's going through and pulling those kind of permits and having them back and forth for a couple different months, going through, oh, you know what? We need slight revisions here or slight revisions here. Consider this code here. And that's really the architect and engineer's job to dial those kind of things in till you get to a point where you're past permits. So now you have 2 of the 4 things. You have your plans and you have your permits. Then, and kind of simultaneously, you are interviewing different builders. You are getting to a place where you have a firm number. One number at the bottom of the line. Here is everything it costs to build my mansion, including all my kind of site work, including the builder's fee and profit and all that kind of stuff, right? Here's my one number. And usually I like it very itemized. I want to see every single thing in there. And honestly, I spent a couple months going back and forth between myself, the architect, the engineers, and the builder, dialing that thing in and really getting that price down to where I think is reasonable. So you can do that while you're going through permits, while you have at least plans to be able to show and bid, right? Because you do need detailed plans in order to get a detailed bid. Otherwise, you're just getting loose round numbers and they're saying, hey, it's $250 to $350 a square foot, depending on X, Y, and Z. I don't want that. I want hard numbers. Tell me every single number that is a part of my framing, a part of my sheetrock, a part of my paint, a part of my plumbing. I want to see every single one of those numbers in a hard number and know exactly why it is that number, right? That's this third part of that. And that's honestly a lot of work. Actually, all of these things are a lot of work. So you have those three things done. And then you go and get your appraisal. And for us, we did an SBA loan, so they did an as complete appraisal. And that means there's really two parts to it. They're gonna go and give an appraisal of when the building is complete. That's why it's called as complete. So my future value, once my building is complete, this is what the real estate's gonna be worth. And that's really based on comps in my market. Then the second part of this is, what is my future business going to be worth, right? They are looking at my market analysis. They're looking at my performa. They're doing market research on all my competition. I'm giving it to my appraiser to really make sure it's going in my favor and he understands what my niche is and what my comps are and all that kind of stuff, because sometimes they may be from another part of the country and have no idea what your market is. So you get these two things together, you get one number. Here's your appraisal, right? At this point, you have all four things in a row. If you had the money ready, you could get everything ready for the bank and you could really sign the loan docs, break ground, and start construction. So you are shovel ready when you have these four things. Now, when those four things are together, I'm having multiple conversations with investors going back and forth. And really, I have a complete package now. Everything is pretty with a little bow in it. Here's what I have. I already own this land right here. I have a plan that's right here. I can show you, here's all the architectural stuff, the engineering stuff. I have a hard bid on this. I know exactly what it's gonna cost to build this. I also have a proposal from the bank saying, hey, we're gonna lend this much and therefore we need this much as a down payment. So I have a firm number of capital needs. I have a performer that shows here's what our time frame is. If you were looking to exit the deal in say 5 years, here's how you would get your money back. Here's what all your cash on cash return would look like. Here's our worst case scenario, all these kind of things. All my numbers are built in. And then I also know what is my future value. I already have an appraisal on this. So I know what it cost me to build it. I know what my cash flow is going to be, and I know what my future value is going to be just 9 short months from now when my building is done. And then I'm going to have appreciation over the next 4 or 5 years before we go and exit this deal. So there is very, very little uncertainty. You know everything. You know, there's going to be some, plus or minus change orders and that kind of stuff. But honestly, with the SBA product, a lot of that stuff is built into the loan, right? There's different boxes going through for working capital and construction reserves and interest reserves and all these kind of things. So there's really a big safety net kind of built in. So if I can make this presentation, we are ready to break ground. We could start in 3 weeks, right? If you are ready to fund, we'll have our own agreement. We'll figure out here's, how we want to structure the deal. Here's when you're getting your money back. All of those kind of things. You are taking the risk away. And I think if you are having a hard time getting people who are investors, they're really excited about it, but they're like, on the fence and you can't get them off. And you have the capital to start what I just said, getting you shovel ready, because you do need capital to do this. You still have to buy the land. So that might be, 10% down on that land. Then you have to go through your plans, right? That's could be, 50 grand. And then you got to get permits and then get a hard bid. So there's a lot of time and work in there. And that might take you to get to that place. That might take, on the very, very fast side, 3 months. It could take 6 months. Honestly, it could take a year, depending on all sorts of different things. So if you have that time and money to be able to do this, I think it puts you in the best position as the owner, as the principal of this deal, because it gives you the most leverage to negotiate, right? You may not give away as much equity or as much interest because there is more certainty there. Your investor knows here's what it is. My risk is limited to this. My upside is very clearly right here. I know what my worst case scenario is. Okay, I'm very comfortable now investing in this kind of deal because it's not wishy-washy. It's exactly like this. And that puts you in the best spot to potentially make the most money or keep the most, percentage of the pie in your favor. But there's pros and cons here, right? You have to have time and money to be able to do this. And if you don't have time and money, then you don't have to do this. You have to find the investor on the front side, which means you have to get them in before you buy the land, before you go through the architect, before you go through plans and permits. All of that stuff is more risk, so you may have to give them more equity. You may have to bring them in as, some type of main partner with you, right? Maybe it's 50-50, maybe it's 33-66, whatever it is, but you'll probably have to give more equity in that position. So if you can do it in this way, I would encourage you to do it because you will end up with the best result for yourself.